Welcome back, blade lovers. This old sword is with you. We got a new brand in the house today. And this is known as S-Tec. S-Tec. It was purchased from White Mountain Knives for a very modest amount. And I'll see if I can tell you what that is, although I will be providing links. Okay, well, it's $32.99, less 10% from White Mountain, and it came in at $29.69. So definitely would call this a budget beast because it is a large blade. The steel is an interesting steel. It is of os. No, it's not os, but it's like os. It is 8CR14. So the reason I said os, or AUS, is I looked it up on Knife Steel Compositions. I'll give you a little screenshot there. And what they're saying is a Chinese steel used by Benchmade and CRKT, maybe more knife companies, and it's similar to 8CR13 MOV. According to Benchmade, 8CR14 MOV steel is in the same class as OS 8 steel from Aichi. Okay, got all that complex stuff out of the way. Now we can take a look at the knife. Very high grind, a long blade, although it looks very stout, so you don't detect any, real long aspects to the blade. But we're going to measure it in a moment. This one is a tan G10. It comes in a green G10 as well. It has what appears to be an FRN backspacer. They did not use G10 there. It's a molded backspacer. And it is jimped here pretty well. Got a high ride clip. Nothing fancy with the clip. Kind of an upturn here. Is it a hot spot? Not in the right hand. Seems to fit into the palm and it's not digging into me, which is strangely enough the circumstance because it looks like it could. We got some nice jimping there and on the blade, but let's measure it up and get that part out of the way. By the way, here is the stock number and the barcode. Yes, made in China. Kind of reminds me of Sativian. The level of workmanship and quality, meaning kind of lower end budget, but not bad. Nice bar lock, long throw on it too. And I haven't been real successful. You got to pull all the way back to get that blade loose enough to go out, but it closes pretty easily and it's smooth. Rolls right out there. As I said, let's get the tape on it and the calipers and see what we got. And we won't forget the scale either. 8.5 inches to the pommel. And I was going to say it's a 4-inch blade. It's really not. It's closer to 3 3/4. If I can get that to stay on there. Yeah, we're going to call it 3 3/4 right to that point there. And I did say overall it is 8.5. If we check the blade stock right up in here, 3.4 millimeters. Pretty good. If I grab it across here and not on the clip, it is a fairly wide 0.63 inches. And Let's get it on the scale. Not going to be a lightweight, almost 6 ounces, 5.995. I'm going to call that 6 ounces. That beckons the question, are there any lightning holes? And indeed, there actually are. You can see them in there. Up front, and a smaller one near the pommel, and even on the lock side. Yet it's still coming in that heavy. It's a little too bright there. Anyway, yep, it is lightened, and yet still 6 ounces. So it's a bit of a beastie knife, 3 3/4 inch, 8.5 inch overall. Ergos are good. They've got these scalloped finger grooves here. Fits the first 2 fingers just fine, and plenty left over. You can easily put your thumb on the back of the blade. You've got enough breadth there on the spine. And some very aggressive, maybe a little too aggressive jimping on the blade, and some jimping on the frame and handle slabs, just about right, I would say. Whether or not you need this here, don't know. Fits into the palm. Could be mostly for aesthetics. Knife handles pretty well. You can cap the pommel with the edge out in the point down position, and less comfortably you can hold it edge in the point down position. As I say, closes easily, opens easily. Single flick open, get it started with the thumb stud. So you got your double thumb studs. You can roll it out very easily and smoothly and not scare anybody. Or give it a shove with your thumb and a little bit of a movement of your wrist and it'll fly right open. We got a full length fuller along the spine, and very fine edge, very thin behind the edge. Sorry, did not measure it, but I started some test cuts, and it's a laser. Absolutely no problem with that edge the way it comes out of the box. I'm going to blind everybody with a white sheet of paper unless I move that over. So definitely comes through with an edge, and you can see how high that goes. Plunge grind comes down, and we don't have a real clean termination there of the edge. Got a little bit of rounding, so not the greatest, but definitely sharpenable on just about any good sharpening device. I use KME. I use WorkSharp, a couple of their different tools. And you could even give it a little stropping when you get it out of the box. Now, last I looked, these were in short supply on White Mountain, should you be interested. But I would say it's a pretty good working blade. One thing I noticed is you can't see it, but I get just a tiny little wiggle of lock rock there. I don't think some people would even notice it. You don't notice it when you put pressure on the back of the blade, but it's there. It may break in because a lot of times on these bar locks, that bar does not seat all the way forward unless you give it a real good snap. And I get just, you can barely feel it, but it's not a complete rock solid lock up like you would get on a knife that costs 2 to 3 to 4 times as much. Yet there are budget knives in this $30 category that do and will lock up tightly. So hard to say whether it's their tolerances, the design, or what have you. The clip is not real spectacular in the way it looks. It's not deep carry if you're into that. If you're not into deep carry, you'll probably like it. And oh yes, switchable to the left side of the knife. And there is your lanyard hole. Pretty good quality G10. It's got a little bit of light texturing to it. Got a little bit of millwork here. Nothing that fancy. But something you may want to consider as kind of a hard-to-use knife. Something you don't have to baby too much. It is the S-Tec. And the model again is the TS016TG, a axis style lock or bar lock folder of the larger variety. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to give it a like. I'll be back soon with something new. Be well.